Welcome to Not Done Yet, the podcast for midlife women who know deep down their story isn't finished. I'm your host, Rachel Perry, and here we're going to talk about what's really happening in this season of life, the identity shifts, the quiet questions, the courage it takes to listen to yourself again, what it actually looks like to step into what's next, and why our boobs are hitting our knees. If you've ever looked at your life and thought, wait, is this it? Girl, you're in the right place. Because midlife isn't the end of your story. It's the moment you start paying attention to it. So take a breath and let's talk about what's really going on and what you want to do with it. Because sister, you are not done yet. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Not Done Yet. I am so excited today because I have a friend who's joining us on the podcast, and I'm just so happy to have her here because I have known her, I would say like a couple of years, and we met this is Sheri Johnson, and we met in a group coaching program, and I just fell in love with her immediately. She and her twin sister I met you both at the same time. And I remember, Sheri, we were checking in, I think it was in New York. And I'm like, wait a second. Is that the same person? I didn't realize that you guys were twins and that you were both, I had no idea. So you are twins, right?
We are. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, suddenly I'm like, wait, were you just sisters? No, they're twins and they're both delightful. But we have Sheri here today. And we're just going to have a really good conversation about midlife and how we are not done yet. And I want to share a little bit of Sheri's story. But before we dive in, would you just kind of give us a little background on who you are, Sheri?
Yeah, of course. And thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And I love that you tell that story about meeting us because we've spent our lives confusing people and then spent a very long time apart. And now that she's back in Canada and we've actually started working together, it's like this whole new thing where we're confusing people again. So it's fun.
So funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny.
Yeah. And she's now my business partner, which makes us even
I love that.
closer. Yeah. So backing up a little bit from that. Yeah. Jen and I, my sister Jen, we are business partners now together. We help women get their bodies, their time, their energy back so that they can live their most fulfilled, purpose-driven lives in their second chapter or whatever you want to call midlife now.
I know. I love that so much. And it's so perfect and resonates obviously with me with the whole Not Done Yet movement. It's so true. And I really do believe it is a second chapter. It's kind of like our chapter. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, it's now our time. Because I think I talk about this all the time. Throughout our 20s, 30s, and 40s, I feel like that's just time that we are almost like focusing on other people. Really, it's not so much us. We somehow fall to the bottom of that. And now in midlife, it's like, okay, now it's your turn. You had said earlier when we were talking before this, that you actually left a corporate career in midlife around 45, which is exactly what I did too. I didn't leave corporate, but I left my $1 million partnership because I just did not feel aligned. It was time to move on. And you did something similar. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what was it that made you want to leave your corporate job? And what did you do?
Yes. So I spent, I still dabble a little bit in human resources, but I spent about 20 years in that career. I hit 40 and it was really a pivotal time in my life. It was 2012. It was a year. Mm-hmm. I was going through everything. I was working for BlackBerry at the time and we were expected to be on all the time. We have a BlackBerry, right? So I was going through a very busy culture, on all the time culture, but I was also volunteering for a nonprofit board at the same time. My boyfriend at the time and I were moving house from one city to another. We were getting married that year. And then on top of it, we lost his brother. My dad had cancer and I had a miscarriage. So
Lord.
40 was a really hard
Tough.
year. And, this is the thing about it. Looking back on it, I was going through pretty much all of life's major stressors, with the exception of divorce and financial ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had asked me on a scale of 1 to 10 how I was feeling, I would have been like, oh, maybe about a 5. And so I pushed through that and maintained it for another 5 years. Oh, this is when I was studying for my nutrition diploma.
Okay.
So, 5 years go by. I'm throwing everything at this. I don't have kids. I'm trying to have kids. So on top of all of this, anybody out there who has been through fertility treatments will know you're getting up at 5 a.m., driving to the closest fertility clinic. For me, it was an hour away, getting your blood drawn, ultrasounds, all the things, showing up at your desk at 9 o'clock as though you just rolled out of bed and had a shower. So at 45, I feel like that's sort of really when midlife hits. Your fertility starts to decline. I mean, mine was rapidly declining. I knew this because they were watching my hormones. Right. And I got to a point where I was like, there's got to be a different way to do this. I don't want to, I was getting to the end of that journey to try to have kids. This is really I should probably tell this part of the story because it really is what got me to where I am now. We decided not to have kids, which was a really hard decision. It comes with a lot of grief, but it's what propelled me or catalyzed my whole career, my whole business beyond that.
Yeah.
So my husband and I decided, okay, we're going to be okay. We're not going to have kids. We're not going to go through IVF. We're just going to stop. But his sister got pregnant. And there was a day when I remember sitting at my in-laws and watching her swimming with her big belly and her bathing suit and being so triggered and envious and grief and all the things and trying to put on the happy face, right? Trying to imagine it's not there, pretend it's not there. And this pivotal question I asked myself was, there's got to be something I can do about this. This can't just be the way I have to live for the rest of my life. And that started this spiral of self-growth, personal development, spiritual development. And it really started the beginning of what is now a framework, but a discovery that my own self-worth was at the heart of it. So you and I were talking about those kind of societal forces that play a role in kind of everything that we do, especially when you hit midlife, like ageism and all the things we start to believe about ourselves. If you don't have kids, my belief was, and many of the women in this sort of child-free, childless sphere, mothers are better. Mothers are better. That's they are somehow better than us. And so I felt like I'm not as good. I'm not as worthy. I'm not as valuable. So I spent, those 5 years that I just talked about, I was trying to prove my worth. I don't have kids, so I'm going to do all these other things. I'm going to make myself just as busy. I can be just as good. Yet inside, I did not believe that. So it was this discovery that it wasn't just grief that I was feeling. It was this unworthiness and starting to pick apart. I kind of think of it as this ball of string or this tangled mess of Christmas lights, or necklace. I had to tease apart, what's grief? What's these societal beliefs that are telling me I'm supposed to be a mom and I'm not as worthy if I'm not? And what do I actually want? Because I thought all along it was going to be kids and that was going to be my purpose. So what is my purpose now? And what's my legacy? All these things. So that started a framework, really, where I was coaching childless women at first. And then I started to see that this isn't just a thing for childless women. And I see here, you're nodding your head like this is, I feel like it's epidemic.
I do too.
And
I do too.
It's like it's exacerbated in midlife when your fertility and your youth, it's all going away.
You know, I shared this on my podcast. Now, I do have children. And thank you so much for sharing that with us, because that hit me. That hit me because, you know, we didn't have kids for 8 years. And I just remember that's all I wanted was to be a mom. And so and we were, obviously we did have kids, but I remember how that felt. And to go through that and then decide, okay, you know what, we're not going to do this. We're not going to keep doing this. And then bring in midlife into that whole thing. It really, truly does. I mean, that's heavy. And I think midlife period is heavy, right? Like, I think it's amazing and wonderful. But like you said, the societal, the views, it's almost like, and it was, well, let me just add this too. I thought it was also really interesting what you said about how society, it felt like because not being a mother meant you just weren't worthy. Right. And I think along those, not as deep as this, but I remember someone saying to me, when you reach midlife or when you get to 50, you become invisible. And I remember thinking, I don't want to become invisible. That's like putting baby in the corner. Like, you don't do that. I'm not ready to be invisible. Like, I don't want to be invisible. And now some people probably are like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm fine being invisible, but I just don't feel like that's okay. And I really do. Let's just dive into this conversation actually, because I had shared something on TikTok a couple of months ago, I feel like, where I was joking about how I took my daughter on a college tour and the tour guide had said, and for all you parents, who was it?
Barry Manilow. I remember
Barry Manilow. I don't know why I was like, Rob. Barry Manilow came here as if this was like a great, not as a student, but performed as if this was amazing. And I was like, I can't Barry Manilow? Like, how old do you think I am? What? And I was so offended, like laughingly offended. And I shared that in a joke, but you really brought up a really great point. You were like, why is that a bad thing if we're old? Right? Like, why is it a bad thing to be viewed as old? And that really got me thinking, because I'm like, why is that a bad thing? And it is cultural, right? Like, we look at people who are older as like, we don't want that, right? Like, we're all heading in that direction, but it's looked down upon somehow. Right?
Yeah. It's why there is a $1 trillion industry that is all based on healthcare products that make you look younger, or healthcare services.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's an unattainable standard for the average person.
It is.
It's just unattainable. And the things that we go through midlife, like everything changes. Everything changes. And like everything changes. And there are emotional pieces to it that I didn't expect. Like, so I'm way TMI on my podcast. And I was sharing that I've sort of reached the like irregular period stage. And I really I had a hard time with that, if I'm being totally honest. Not that I thought that I was like still could have kids or anything, but it was an unexpected experience for me, emotional experience. I'm like, why? People are like, why do you care? Like, you don't have to deal with your period. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it's the ending of something.
You are not the only one. Oh my gosh. Okay. No, at first I felt the same way. Like, I kind of missed it when it didn't come. Like, if that's possible. And I thought that I was feeling that because I don't have kids. So this really is the end of something. Like, it is the end of my opportunity to have kids. But then a friend of mine who has kids said, I kind of missed my period after it was gone. And I was like, you do? Tell me about that. And she said, what you're saying is like, it feels like an ending. There's something, and there it is. I mean, it's the ending, but it's also the beginning.
It is
of something else.
I mean, exactly. It's exactly. And I think that's what I want, you know, people who are listening to remember, like this is what we, both of us talk about, like, this is just the beginning. This is truly is a beginning. And I think that that's so exciting. So let's talk a little bit about what you do now. So you refer to yourself as like a modern medicine woman. Can you give us a little bit of information on what that means to you and the things that you do now?
Yeah. So one of the things that I was doing just as I was turning 40 was I was also studying to be a nutritionist. And so that was what started my business away from my human resources career. So I started and it kind of follows my own story. I was having trouble with, balancing my hormones. So that was the first thing that I did. I was working with women to help them balance their hormones. And then I had miscarriages. So, and the network marketing connection, that was when I brought doTERRA into my business.
Yes.
And so I started helping women get through miscarriage from both a physical standpoint. So recover from that and also prepare yourself for your next pregnancy if that's what you want. And to also get through the emotional side of that. And then as my fertile years started to decline, I started to realize, oh my gosh, there's all these women who never get to have the pregnancy and they need help. So I started working with the women who wanted kids, never had them for whatever reason. It didn't matter whether it was miscarriages or they're single, never found the right person, whatever. And so I really spent a number of years coaching in between there, like nutrition coaching, but then also I started doing spiritual life coaching, like really kind of getting at the self-worth underlying and the shame and like some of those emotions that are underlying miscarriage and not having kids. And then when my sister and I started to join forces, we started to realize, okay, she's working with mostly mothers. I was working with mostly childless women, but they're all dealing with the same issues. They're just kind of manifesting in different ways. And I was really missing the physical side of it, or I felt that was it's a necessary piece. I mean, it's the entry point for most people. They want to get rid of their symptoms in midlife, the menopause symptoms, the perimenopause. And so as modern medicine women, we use nutrition and supplements and all of the physical stuff to help with those physical symptoms. And there are usually also emotional and spiritual connections underlying those physical symptoms. It's all connected.
Yeah.
So we're drawing on all three of those to really help women get through that.
That's so amazing. And when we were just talking about this before, but just this blew my mind actually when I read what you had written just about how, we blame our things on like our symptoms on perimenopause or menopause or whatever. But you said, so many women come to you exhausted and all of the things, but it's not just hormones and nutrition, but that we are also like, there are unseen forces. This is what blew my mind. Like the societal expectations, the patriarchy, the ageism, you see that plays a part in all of these symptoms as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. If you kind of back it up, this might be the easiest way to describe. So we have physical symptoms. They manifest differently in different people. If you back that up, we sort of think, oh, it's just estrogen dropping. But what happens when your estrogen drops is all these other things happen with your hormones. And not just your sex hormones, it's also insulin and cortisol. And we already have cortisol running high, like in general. So cortisol and like blood sugar imbalance, that insulin, blood sugar, cortisol, those three play a huge role in menopause symptoms. So, and that really can't just be managed with physical, like with nutrition and supplements. You've got to address the cortisol. So we saw stress as being a major contributor. And there's so many women out there who are probably saying, well, I'm not that stressed. And yet, I mean, we just live in a stressful environment. Our bodies,
We do.
we have Paleolithic bodies that are living in like this world of distractions and overstimulation and toxins and all the things. We are just you just wake up and open your eyes and you're stressed.
Right.
So
we've just become not immune, but like where it's numb to us because it's such a norm for us.
Exactly. It's just normalized that we just live with this. So if you back that up, then you've got nervous system activation. And back up from there, what's causing that is the subconscious beliefs that you have about yourself. Yeah. There's where the self-worth comes in. And where do those subconscious beliefs come from? Patriarchy, ageism, are all these societal forces that tell us, oh, you're supposed to look young for the rest of your life. So you need Botox, you need lipstick, you need all the wrinkle-free creams and all the things, right?
The facelifts, the neck lifts. Yeah. All of it.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, don't even talk to me about the workplace. Like when you are in a corporate environment and going through some stuff. Like I remember one of my bosses telling me, she was 10 years older than me. She had flooding. So in case your listeners don't know what that is, sometimes what can happen is you have like super heavy periods and like you can literally like soak a tampon in an hour kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she was in a meeting, and I won't say who this was for her own privacy, but she was wearing a white skirt.
Oh no.
And instead of just saying, I'm going to go home now, this is the days of liquid paper. She liquid papered the spot on her skirt and kept on going on with her day. Like this is what we do.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
We don't even realize it. Like we don't even recognize that is crazy. Not crazy in a bad way, but like, why are we doing that?
And we've all done, like, you probably know someone who has done something like that. In fact, you told a story. You told a story about, and I don't know if you've told this on your podcast yet.
I'm sure I have.
You've told it on Instagram, so I'm assuming it's fair game. But you were at a speaking engagement.
When I peed my pants?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know what's so funny is I actually shared a story of me peeing my pants on Mother's Day, but actually that's not the story that Sheri is talking about. Yes, I had gone on stage. I was emceeing an event and I was wearing a pantsuit, and under the pantsuit, I was like, I'm going to wear Spanx because I needed to suck it all up. And I thought I needed to. And I was like, well, I'm just going to wait to go to the bathroom until lunchtime. So lunchtime rolled around and everyone left. And I was like, okay, now I can go to the bathroom. But as we all know, as we get a little bit older, and this was what, I guess like 5 years ago, maybe more than that, actually 6 or 7 years ago. But anyway, it's not even aging. It's like, I had to go so bad. And I was like, I'm just going to pee. You know how there's a hole in Spanx where it's like a pee hole where you can just, and I had mastered this, I thought. And so I sat down, I pulled my jumpsuit down and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, why am I not hearing it in the toilet? And I looked down and I was literally peeing all over my clothes, all over my shoes, all over the floor. And I continue on about how I tried to clean it up and all the things. But as I was like, I have to go change. I have to go home or back to the hotel room and change. And I didn't know if I had an outfit to change into. But as I left, I lied. I was like, the people who were in charge of the event, they were like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm having a bra malfunction. Like I put on, I don't even know what I said, but it was because I didn't want to be like, I peed my pants. I was so embarrassed that I had done that I was like, let me just make something that's more socially acceptable, which is like my strapless bra broke or something. In my mind, that was more, is that the story you're talking about?
It was, yes. Yeah. And you touched on it when you started to tell the story, the fact that you felt like you needed to wear the Spanx and, just like lied about it, went back to the, like, you're going on stage in a minute and you've got to race back to the hotel. Like, imagine what kinds of things are going on for women behind the scenes that we don't know about, and we feel like we can't talk about it.
Yes. And you know what? Men don't deal with this. Like,
No.
not to get on, but this does not happen. Mm-hmm. This is not something that they deal with. So yeah, that makes total sense that all of these are the societal expectations that we put ourselves, that we're under. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a whole nother story. We can go into like, you know, seeing my girls, you know, as they're, you know, going through it all. It's just, it's crazy. But, well, let me ask you this. What is the solution, or how do you help women who come to you exhausted and not sleeping? Because here's something else that this occurred to me last week. You know, the exhaustion that so many midlife women have, we're always like, oh, it's because I'm not sleeping because of hormones, or it's, you know, it's because I'm going through perimenopause or menopause or whatever. But what if part of it is also because we're denying ourselves? We're continually kind of going back into the whole, like, the outside forces, the external forces that are affecting our nervous system. What if part of that exhaustion is also because you were ignoring what we really want?
So you have hit the nail on the head. That's such a great example, actually, because sleep exhaustion, like it's so pervasive in our society. So the way that we approach that, it's a three-pronged approach. So yes, there's physical things you can do for exhaustion, for sleep. There's supplements you can take to balance out your cortisol. That's going to help, you know, to support your adrenal glands, to help you sleep, better. But then there's also that societal pressure that says you got to be productive, you got to be efficient, you got to be the woman who can do it all. And that woman never rests. Mm-hmm. So she feels guilty for taking a nap. She feels guilty if she's not done everything before she goes to bed. So she just keeps pushing the bedtime later because, oh, I just got to make the lunches. Oh, I got one more thing to do. And so that's where the self-worth comes in. We feel like we're not worthy of rest. Yeah. So, and that comes from partially society. Well, okay, let's break down society. It comes from patriarchy. It comes from women entering a workforce where being able to thrive on like 5 hours of sleep is celebrated. Mm-hmm. And that, by the way, this is so fascinating to me, came from Thomas Edison when he like invented the light bulb. He was like, we don't need sleep anymore. Really? Because we can see. So sleep is a waste of time.
Wow. I had no idea.
Me neither. I thought that was so fascinating. I had to mention it. But those are the kinds of things, like that becomes like the water we swim in, the air we breathe. Like we don't even think about where it came from, but there's all these people going around like CEOs and high-powered men and in high-powered positions saying, well, I only need 5 hours of sleep and I'm in the office by 7 a.m. And so women feel like they need to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't have the bodies, like our bodies are cyclical. They are not 9 to 5. They were not meant to live like that.
Right.
So and we feel like in order to be valuable in the workplace or wherever, it doesn't even matter, that we need to follow that. We need to show that we're capable and we're strong and we don't need as much sleep either, and we can do all the things. So we push through. And we multitask and we keep going when our bodies are actually asking for rest.
Yeah. I mean, especially in corporate America, that's just kind of a joke, right? Like, yeah. So let me ask you this. I know that you have a quiz that people can take called Which Midlife Coping Strategy is Costing You the Most? Mm-hmm. Is that something that, because here's what I would love to talk about a little bit, and then we'll just kind of wrap up. But I think, and correct me if you teach something different, but we don't, kind of going back to what we were just saying, we don't even know that we're coping. We don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even realize that that's what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we don't recognize that we're under stress because this is just what we do as women.
Yeah, totally.
So what are some of the things that they'll come up with on that quiz? Like, what are some of the coping strategies?
Yeah. So one of the first ones, I think I'm going to pick two.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the ones that I think most women will resonate is people pleasing. And most women out there, at least in the crowd that you and I run in, already know they're people pleasers, and they call themselves recovering people pleasers.
Yes. Yes.
And yet they still find themselves picking up the phone when they have a friend calling who they know is going to need emotional support and they're not capable of giving it. They will still say yes to the project at work because if they say no, well, I'm in my 50s, so I got to be careful. You know, it's not something you say out loud, but that's running in the back of our minds, right? And what they're going to find out is within that quiz, there's 6 of these coping strategies. We don't think of them as coping strategies. We think of them as just things that we do. People pleasing is just, that's what we do as women. And they'll find out what is their dominant one, but then they're also going to find out what's kind of underneath of that. So with people pleasing, the reason why recovering people pleasers still can't stop is because it's not a matter of willpower and like just trying to say no. That usually doesn't work. It's what we're doing is avoiding the shame that comes with saying the no, because we've been taught that nice women are reasonable and helpful and nice, and they don't disappoint people. They please. So that's going to send you down a shame spiral. What happens to a lot of recovering people pleasers is they say no, and then they see the look on the other person's face, or it's like their mother who starts begging, and they're like, "Oh, all right, I'll just do it," and they abandon themselves.
Right.
Because that is, especially when it comes to your parents, you want to please
100%.
them. They're the ones that are hardest to say no to. So you have to get to what we break down in that quiz is what's the coping strategy? What's the stress response that's under that? Because it could be fight or flight or freeze. Fawning is actually a people pleasing. What you're doing is it's fawning, right? It's right. It's when dogs do this. They get submissive when they're with an alpha dog. They roll over. They might paw a little bit, or they'll bow their heads. That's what we're doing. We're fawning. So you're going into a stress response when you're people pleasing. Your nervous system is activated. You're you probably feel your heart rate ramping up. You're just starting to get flustered because you're trying to think of the way to say, no, I really don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. And there's a subconscious belief underneath of that. So that people pleasing is going to that raises your cortisol, which is then going to impact your symptoms. So if you're doing that all day long.
Right. Now, a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of midlife women will say, oh, that's one thing that I don't do anymore. I don't care as much about what people think, but which is great. And I do think that there's a level to that. But I also think sometimes it's so ingrained in us that we don't even realize we're still doing it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. There's the I don't care movement on social media. And I love that. But at the same time, a lot of those same women are they might not care. There's a difference between embarrassment and shame. So when they say I don't care, they're no longer getting embarrassed about wearing whatever the heck they want. They're no longer getting embarrassed about, oh, I walked into I don't know, the door in the coffee shop.
Right.
Like they don't care about that stuff anymore. They don't get embarrassed, but they still feel shame.
Yeah.
And it's the shame that causes the people pleasing.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's like that deeper level. So how can people find that quiz? Where is the quiz?
midlifewomenrising.com/quiz.
Okay. midlifewomenrising.com/quiz. And that's going to be in the notes. So let me ask you, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. So many more things I want to touch on. So we're going to have you back. But this is a question that I love to ask people who come on to the podcast. This is kind of a new thing because it's a newer podcast. So I'm starting this trend. But here's my question for you. If there's a woman listening right now who's in the thick of it, right? Feeling overwhelmed, feeling invisible, maybe a little lost, and she just needs someone to tell her the truth, to be like, listen, what would you tell her?
Oh my goodness.
I know I should have told you that ahead of time. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is you are worthy, but that it's so easy to sort of intellectualize that. It's much harder to get to the heart of, like, to really embody that.
Right.
What would I say to her? Well, I think it would be more a little piece of advice, which would be to start looking at, what do you believe? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about the world? What do you believe about midlife? You know, some people say to me so Jen and I have a podcast and it has the word midlife in it, Midlife Rising. And I floated that title around in some of the business groups I'm in, and the women in midlife were like, oh, cringe, like, don't use the word midlife.
Really?
Yeah. So even all it is it's midlife. It's just a word, but we're making meaning out of that. So what is it that you believe about midlife? What are you telling yourself about midlife? So I think that would be what it's, I suppose what I would tell her is that you've got underlying beliefs that are coming from society, from, you know, patriarchy, pronatalism, ageism, that are leading you to believe things about yourself and about midlife. See if you can get to those.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And yes, I did want to give a shout out to your podcast, Midlife Rising. So definitely check that out.
Thank you.
And you have a retreat coming up. When is it?
Oh, yes. It's not till November. Yeah, it's not till November, but we're going to Peru and we're going to Machu Picchu. And Machu Picchu sells out. So we've got a few weeks left before we need decisions. So yeah, that's an 8-day retreat for midlife women specifically.
So amazing. I love that. I love that. That's my goal too. Not to go to Machu Picchu, but to have not done yet live experiences, because I think that could be so powerful. You know, there's so much amazingness that happens when you're in the same room with other women, other midlife women who are ready to do what's next, because we're not done yet. Sheri, thank you so much for being here. We do need to continue this conversation. So whether it be on your podcast or coming back to mine, we need to continue this conversation for sure. You are a wealth of information. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been such a pleasure.
I just love you. I just love you. And listen, if you are listening and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such an amazing episode, go find Sheri. Sheri, where can they find you on the socials?
Midlife Women Rising.
Perfect. Just check it out, y'all. It will all be linked in the show notes. And if you know another midlife woman who this might resonate with, be sure to share this with her, because we are not done yet. And we need to spread the word so that we can, because imagine what happens when midlife women decide, oh yeah, we're not done yet. Like, look what happens. Imagine the incredible moves that will happen within this world. So that's the mission. Sheri, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it.